Pacific has been to the NAIA National Tournament 15 straight years, but never won the title. Could this be the year? Oklahoma Baptist 10 straight tournament appearances, but no title since the 60s. Will this be the time? The NAIA National Championship game, about to provide the answers tonight in Kansas City. College basketball's toughest tournament. You need 5 wins in 7 days to grab that, the national championship trophy. It is on the line tonight for the victor or the survivor of the Buffalo Funds NAIA National Championship affair between Oklahoma Baptist and Azusa Pacific here on the CBS College Sports Network. Hi there, Jason Knapp, along with the former head coach at UMKC, Rich Savosic. And Rich, these two teams have been here a lot in recent years, but don't have a lot to show for it as far as tournament trophy titles go. That will change for one of them tonight.
Well, Oklahoma Baptist, 53 wins in national tournament play. Number 1 all time. Has been in the national championship game 6 times, last time 02. Azusa Pacific, most wins for any 4-year college in the state of California, including UCLA, since 1993. Their last tournament appearance, 2005.
Well, we've got 2 titans of NAIA basketball, and you're really keyed up about the showdown of guys in the paint for this one.
Well, Reggie Owens for Azusa Pacific, Nate Brumfield for Oklahoma Baptist. Brumfield scores in the paint. He can also hit the mid-range jump shot, but he is something else. Great passer, 29 points, including the game winner last night in the semis, the National Player of the Year. On the flip side, Reggie Owens, another undersized post guy, big heart. Tore his MCL about a month and a half ago, returned 11 games ago, and they are on an 11-game winning streak. 16 points, 16 rebounds in the semis.
2 teams that play with passion and precision, but only one will walk away as a national champion. The Cougars and the Bison ready to tip it up here from Kansas City.
In basketball, sound fundamentals and a well-thought-out game plan can mean the difference between reaching your goals or falling short. The same goes for investing. The Buffalo Funds are a family of no-load mutual funds based on sound investing fundamentals designed to help you reach your long-term goals. The fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses must be considered carefully before investing. The prospectus contains this and other important information about the Buffalo Funds, and it may be obtained by visiting buffalofunds.com. Read it carefully before investing.
Daktronics is recognized worldwide as a leading scoreboard and electronic display company. Thousands of schools and sports facilities count on Daktronics for innovative, reliable products that add excitement and entertainment. For any sport, for any level of competition, for any size arena or stadium, give your fans even more to cheer about with a Daktronics scoreboard and display system. Daktronics is proud to be the official scoreboard, timer, video, message center, and stats software provider of the NAIA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bill Rosentrader speaking, Public Relations Director for the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. We are here in the magnificent $6 million Municipal Auditorium of Kansas City, Missouri tonight.
A look at the Power and Light District here in downtown Kansas City, nearby at Municipal Auditorium. Lots of energy in this building with a championship awaiting the winner between Oklahoma Baptist and Azusa Pacific here in the NAIA Division I National Championship. About ready to tip it off here from KC. And let's meet some of the particulars in this one, including the head coach of Oklahoma Baptist, Doug Tolan. 10th year as the head man, 10 straight trips to the national tournament, and they've won at least one game every single year they've been in this NAIA tournament with him in charge. Take a look at the starting lineups for both squads. For the Bison, The bruising Nate Brumfield, as we talked about in the open. Up top, along with Wake Forest transfer Kevin Swinton. Certainly Oklahoma Baptist will try to be effective inside. For Azusa Pacific, it's the Johnson & Johnson show. Marshall and Dominique, sophomore and senior, both average in double-figure scoring for the Cougars. Burgess and Stafford round out the starting lineup. This Cougar team has dealt with injuries all year long. It's been a theme for Justin Leslie and company, but they have soldiered on. His third season at the helm of his alma mater, been at this tournament as a player, as an assistant, now has the chance to take the Cougars where they've never been before, to the top of the NAIA as a national champion if they can win this game. The officials for tonight, John Stigliano, Justin Ingles, Mark Housel, an honor for them to oversee a national championship affair. We are underway. Oklahoma Baptist in the green and gold. Azusa Pacific in the white jerseys with the maroon and black trim.
Both teams are going to play that tough man-to-man defense, try and pressure, try and keep the tempo in the fast lane.
Entry pass inside. Reverse layup will finally fall. David Stafford, who's got post-up abilities. In fact, he was forced to play center for a game earlier this year for the Cougars and got the job done. He's Mr. Versatility. Has started at point guard, at forward, and at center. He gets the first 2 points of the national championship. Out high straight away, Garrett Steinmetz. And the entry pass. Swinton double teamed immediately and stolen away. Dominique Johnson has the theft. And he'll coast all the way in for the lefty layup. He has great flashing ability to the goal.
He has that extra gear. He showed it last night in the semis, going coast to coast. Showed it right there.
Two-time first-team all-conference performer in the Golden State Athletic Conference for Azusa Pacific. Cougars 28-9 overall. They were third place in the conference, but got it done in the conference tournament, winning the title. And there's the first two of the game for the Bison. Tim Bowman, junior guard out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, knifing in for the Deuce. Here's Owens, who was such a force on the interior. We'll see how he fares tonight, matched up against the bigs of the Bison, and right away gets two on the inside and a whistle right after that. Officials timeout here on the floor. And having a discussion right now, not sure if it's a clock issue or something else.
Whistle after the basket, so they give it to him, but poor rotation out of that ball screen by Oklahoma Baptist, and Owens gets the easy one.
You expect to see the bigs here really kind of set the tone in this game for either squad, especially for Oklahoma Baptist and what they try to accomplish.
Both teams play out of the post.
There's Swinton, doubled. Back outside to Steinmetz, one of their top three-point shooters. Swinton trying to weave in, does. Up and under for two.
Great execution by Swinton. Saw the double team coming from the top side. Spin to the base.
2-point deficit for Oklahoma Baptist. Something they'll be trying to avoid, or maybe not, is falling behind by double digits. It's happened in their last 3 games. They've rallied 3 straight times to win, needing overtime in both the quarterfinals and the semifinals to get here to the championship affair. Loose on the side, stays in. Owens has it. 8 to shoot for Azusa Pacific. 3-ball, back iron there for Caleb Burgess. He struggled from the floor in his first 3 contests, but woke up big time in the semis with 18 points, including 4 3-balls. Swinton left alone, and he's got the range to hit from 17, and we're tied up at 6. In the corner, this is Marshall Johnson. He'll pull the trigger and knock down the triple.
Jason, the way these two teams have started, there is no fear, and there certainly is no nervousness on either side.
And there looks to be a lot of energy. We talked about the schedule. It is grueling. 5th game in 7 days for these teams. And we'll see who has enough energy to get through it. and push on. Both teams so far shooting the lights out. 7 of 8 field goals combined. And a foul here as the attack was made on the inside by Brumfield.
It's clear that Azusa Pacific's strategy is to double the post, and anytime Brumfield catches the ball on the perimeter, to shade and help.
And there's Nate coming in for the slam.
Oh my, somebody missed their assignment.
Out of bounds right away and bringing it in for the dunk. He was a monster in the semifinals. 29 points on 11 of 14 shooting, 9 rebounds, played 43 minutes of the 45 in the overtime victory. On the curl, the lefty Stafford can't connect. And the Bison in transition. You would expect if either of these teams are going to run, Azusa Pacific would be the one to be a little bit more active, would you not?
Well, they are smaller and quicker, thus giving them the advantage. But Brumfield, Swinton, for big guys, they run the floor well.
Bowman backs it out. Skip pass into the corner. There's A.J. Hawkins. His first shot hits the side rim. And the rebound pulled in by Marshall Johnson. Burgess left open. Rims out. Rebound Steinmetz. Brumfield out of Rochester, New York. Can't get it to go, and a held basketball called. Will be up for grabs and belong to Azusa Pacific when we come back. Azusa Pacific of California leading Oklahoma Baptist by 1 here. This NAIA National Championship. 300 teams governed by the NAIA. 2 divisions for basketball. St. Francis of Indiana won the Division II title last week in Branson, Missouri. Here in Kansas City, the path for both of these teams to the championship round. Overtime needed by Oklahoma Baptist to get by Robert Morris. And Azusa Pacific took out the Cinderella of this year's tournament, Southern Poly, in the other semifinal. Active, and when you get into a tournament setting here, Rich, you understand what it's like to, it's such a grind, and trying to get through this in the span of a week is amazing that these teams have anything left at this point.
You're absolutely right. 5 games in 7 days, much different than your conference tournament.
Up and in on the rebound, Christian Quitwala, a freshman from Fontana, California, gets the 2. He's missed 6 games with a knee injury. Really, you could pick out a player here on the Cougars, and they've missed time this year with injury. 8 different starting lineups. About a half dozen players have missed significant time with ailments this year. And that includes their starting point guard, Mike Kefesi, who is doubtful for tonight's game after going down with a sprained ankle earlier in this tournament. Dominique Johnson went strong again to the hole when fouled.
We'll talk about the job that Justin Leslie has done at Azusa Pacific. He loses Kefesi, who in the first 3 games averaged 7 assists a game. Now all of a sudden you got to adjust on the fly. Everybody is moved around. Ashton Roberts has to come off the bench and give quality minutes. They've done a fantastic job.
And Kefesi there on the bench looking on. The heart and soul guy. And the good news, you know, for them, they played without him at times this year, so they've gone through it, understand what it's like when he went down with another ailment.
It was a great motivational move yesterday. Before the game, instead of Coach Leslie addressing the team, he had Kefesi addressing the team. And from what I was told, it was just, there was not an emotion left in the room.
Now, he's dressed, and you wonder if he would be able to play tonight. Mason Maynard, who aggravated a foot injury in the second-round win over Westminster, is dressed, could play tonight. And a timeout taken there by Oklahoma Baptist as Bowman got trapped on the side.
Well, Dominique Johnson is one of the best defenders in all of NAIA. He can guard a post man. He can guard the point guard. And there, he single-handedly took Oklahoma Baptist out of their offense.
You look at Dominique Johnson and what he accomplished this year in this tournament. 11 games this season with 20 or more points. But you talk to Justin Leslie, the points for all of his players are great. He's really sold this team on playing defense. He said at the start of the year, we didn't play an ounce of defense, and they've turned it around, and really that's carried them through all the ups and downs and the injuries throughout the year.
Well, it certainly has, and the characteristic of a championship team, great defenders and very unselfish on the offensive end. This group, as well as Oklahoma Baptist, have both.
Yeah, balance and depth for both of these teams. Bowman into the corner. Steinmetz backs it down, 9 on the shot clock. Bowman will try for 3. Hits the rim. Steinmetz the rebound, up and foul. Well, the senior out of Fort Cobb, Oklahoma, working the offensive glass. He struggled shooting-wise in the semifinal. 8 points, 4 rebounds. The team overall, not a great three-point shooting team in that game. 2 of 11 from 3. But again, as we talked about, they're playing inside out to set things up.
Well, and Steinmetz came through in the second half of that Biola game with 2 huge threes that forced Biola's zone to open up. And once that happened, they were able to attack the inside with Brumfield and Swinton.
Getting it done in the classroom as well. He's an NAIA National Scholar Athlete, biology major, wants to be a doctor, but right now worried about helping his teammates dissect Azusa Pacific and bring home a national championship. Burgess left open. Does not have the hot shooting touch that he had in the semifinal. He's missed his first 3 attempts. Mike Danilian on the floor for the first time. There's a long-range knockdown. Ashton Roberts, who's really been pressed into more service time with the injury to Kafesi. 7 points, 3 rebounds in the semifinals, and he steps into a 3. A good attack on the interior for the Bison. And that'll lead to a trip to the free throw line. Here's a look at that last play at the other end.
A great flash. The defense went to help on the cutter. Roberts left open. He knows what to do.
First free throw rattles in for A.J. Hawkins. He's made a couple of stops throughout his college career. Began at St. Bonaventure. Played 2 years there, started every game as a sophomore, averaged about 12 points, then transferred to Wichita State, was a starter there, but came to Oklahoma Baptist to follow in the footsteps of his brother Adam, former 4-year player for the Bison.
Well, he also had a coaching change down at Wichita State. New coach comes in. Hey, I want to go where I know the coach. He ends up at Oklahoma Baptist.
And Doug Tolan has built a family and a program at Oklahoma Baptist, and Hawkins welcomed with open arms. On the interior. The shot falls in for Reggie Owens. First time he's really had good position on the low block.
Now he catches it that low. He's got Swinton in the box. He's too wide to get around him. He'll score on that all night.
He's had some big hoops. Game-winning bucket of the first round against Cumberland's Kentucky with 1.2 seconds left. And been a big-time factor helping the Cougars in this one out to a 6-point cushion. Swinton. Partially blocked. That one's not.
Wow, with authority.
Swinton slams it through. He now has 6. On the baseline, Owens left open, but erased. Hawkins came over from the weak side and snuffed it out.
A great alert play by Hawkins. Watch him come all the way from the weak side, all the way on the other side of the basket to get that one.
Roberts off the restart, attacking. Bison wanted the block, but the foul is called.
It's an interesting strategy right now with Justin Leslie and Azusa Pacific. They have subbed very often early, trying to keep guys fresh. Oklahoma Baptist, they're going with the guys who brought them to the dance.
And 11 players averaging double figures minutes-wise for the Cougars. And Roberts, one of those guys seeing more time here in the postseason and gets it done from the free throw line. 6-point lead for APU here early on in this NAIA Division I National Championship from Kansas City. Brumfield going strong in the foul. Well, they had not gotten him great position early, so he just creates for himself.
He is a guy that is so deceiving. He obviously is strong, but he goes that extra level. You know, if he needs to go 9-6, he goes 9-6. If he needs to go 10-2, he goes 10-2.
Can't finish off the old-fashioned three-point play. Brumfield, not only does he lead the team in points and rebounds, but assists and steals. He is a complete player.
Unselfish, very unselfish.
Bowman with a rebound, takes it in, and leaves for Brumfield. Bowman thinking about it, now sets it back. On the take, and it's Hawkins, and the foul is called. Well, inside we see some dunks. Swinton with the secondary stuff for the Bison. Reggie Owens has been critical to the performance of Azusa Pacific in this national tournament, but he just picked up his second personal foul. The decision time here for Justin Leslie. Do you take him out at this point or leave him on? And it looks like he's going to take a seat here in this first half with 11:30 left to go. Playing with a torn MCL in his knee after missing 8 games, as Coach Z talked about at the top. Strapped on that brace and has played on.
Look at that. That's one of those old Joe Namath braces.
Yeah, they say he can't do any more damage to the knee, and he can play with it, and he has, and they have not lost since he returned. You ever have a guy just gutted out with an injury like that?
Oh, I'd say I had a guy who tore his ACL in August, and the doctors told him, you got to sit out the whole year. He came back and played in February and made the all-conference tournament team. But this guy, Reggie Owens, is the epitome of toughness. And, you know, now with 2 fouls, obviously Justin Leslie has a philosophy: take a guy out with 2 fouls. With a 3-point lead, you try and nurse it and see if you can keep Oklahoma Baptist from exploiting the interior.
We'll see how long Owens is a spectator, the junior out of Fairleigh High School in Memphis. 3-point shot. Now that'll help the cause. You can start hitting from long range. Marshall Johnson knocks it down. Another 3-ball in this contest for the Cougars. They are 3 of 5 from deep. They average about 8 made triples per game. Skip pass. Open shooter from long range. Can't find the distance, but the follow is there. Emmanuel Wilson into the game and puts it through the sophomore from Norman North High School. Foul called. Entry there by Stafford. Bison fans thought it was a clean strip, but a personal is called.
Well, this is a great hustle play by Emmanuel Wilson. Nobody blocks him out, and he gets a nice little putback.
Now the foul there on Brumfield, that's his first. And Stafford at the line. Here's another look at that last call.
I tell you, Jason, that looked like a lot of ball to me. He had a right to argue that one.
Stafford makes him pay for the free throw line. 77% shooter, and the lead back to 6 for the Cougars. Heath McKay under duress gets it to Brumfield.
With Maynard injured, they are really small when they got to go to Catala as your post sub at 6'4".
And again, Stafford has also played inside this year at 6'3". And there's outside shooting for Wilson for Oklahoma Baptist. And the first triple of the game for the Bison. And it slices the lead back to 3. McKay checks out. Bowman back on for OBU. And a look at the three-point shooting. And the assists have been strong for the Cougars so far. 8 made field goals and 5 helpers. Marshall Johnson on the baseline, lost it. Battle for it, Wilson on the floor to get it for Oklahoma Baptist. Brumfield had it tipped out of bounds, will stay at this end. And Marshall Johnson coming up a little bit gimpy, and he'll exit. Zane Mail, the lefty from Australia, comes in for him, and there's a reason why. Ouch.
Ooh, dove right on it. Emmanuel Wilson, though, a great hustle play. Having a basketball digest type of night right now. Put back a 3, a hustle play on the ground.
He's filling it up. Brumfield pushed out, and there's the double team right away from the Cougars. That means somebody's got to be open. That somebody would be Bowman, who knocks down a 3.
Good ball reversal. Inside, outside, make that extra pass. Open shot.
Tied at 25 here, 9 minutes left. First half of this NAIA Division I National Championship. Not tied anymore. Dominique Johnson with the 4th 3-ball this first half for the Cougars.
But with Owens on the bench, Azusa Pacific becomes a much more difficult team to guard because now they play without a post. You got 5 guys running. That means Swinton and Brumfield are chasing guys on the perimeter.
How can they defend on the inside? Swinton fighting for space and tangling there with Katwala, and the foul going to be against Christian. That is a tough matchup. 6'4", 205 against 6'8", 240.
The little guy is giving it everything he can. He's grabbing, he's hooking, using his tail. Just a little bit too much bumpage.
That's some beef on the inside with Brumfield and Swinton. They finally get it in. Back to Bowman. Why not? Made the last one. Not that one. Tracked down by Hawkins. Swinton, double team. So what? Kevin Swinton starting to fill it up. 8 points now, along with 3 rebounds to lead the way for the Bison, who trail by 1. Another attack from Dominique Johnson leads to another foul. Back and forth affair here in Kansas City. It continues in a moment.
You're watching the CBS College Sports Network.
Jason Knapp, Rich Savosic back at the Buffalo Funds NAIA National Championship in Kansas City. All right, Coach, let's take you inside this OBU offense here.
Well, we talked about Steinmetz being very smart off the court. Watch him increase his passing angle. That's great basketball IQ. 2 dribbles to the side, easy post feed to Swinton, and Swinton knows what to do with it.
Yeah, Steinmetz able to find the right angle. OBU down 1, although they've turned up the offense. 6 of their last 8 field goals converted in the last 4.5 minutes. That's transformed them from trailing by 8 to be down only 1. Danilian knocks it down, and he should. One of only 3 Cougars all time with 200 or more career threes. Gets it to go, and Azusa Pacific continues to pour it on from long range. Lob inside, Brumfield. Too easy when he gets it there.
That's automatic.
Now the 3s of the Cougars beating the 2s of OBU to this point.
It's 3 for 2.
Danilian had position but no finish, but a foul is called. That's on Swinton, and that will be his first.
See, and that's what happens when you make three-point shots. Now all of a sudden you get cuts to the basket because everybody is spread out and they're trying to deny that three-point shot.
Each team with 5 fouls here in this opening half. Danielian, senior out of Van Nuys, started his career at Cal State Fullerton. Able to convert on the first free throw. Second one good as well. And this Cougar team, the shooting not contained beyond the arc. It's been good from the stripe as well. They are 8 of 8 free throw wise to this point. Bowman. Hawkins. And now Brumfield. Right of the foul line. Skip pass. Steinmetz for 3. Rebound kept alive. Hawkins deposits it for 2.
Good play by Swinton. Didn't give it up. Was able to tip it to a teammate.
At the other end, Dominique Johnson says, enough of this. I'm going coast to coast.
Wow. He's got that extra gear.
He has 9 points to lead all scores. And maybe a little bit too active there. Called for the foul, trying to check down Bowman.
Swinton keeps it alive, and Hawkins, instead of going back on defense, he stayed, just hung around long enough, picked up the garbage.
And at the other end, number 23 flying through and laying it in. You surprised with how well this 5-out, for lack of a better term, speed game is held up for the Cougars to this point?
Well, as long as they're making three-point shots, it'll work all night long. The question is what happens when you get cold.
Their center, Reggie Owens, been out for about 5 minutes or so after picking up his second personal foul. That's going to be another one on the interior for Azusa Pacific, and that'll be on Katwala. And that's his second, so the guy that replaced Owens in the post now picks up his second person.
And Justin Leslie is looking down that bench, and there's nobody left. The only way he can go is to get a little bit smaller, and I don't know if he really wants to go in that direction.
Katwala remains in at this point. Again, their other big, Mason Maynard, has been battling a foot injury, and he gets up off the bench. Has not played in the last 2 games, but he's at the scorer's table waiting to check in and give the Cougars what he can. Danielian, tough fadeaway, made it look easy. And this team from Azusa Pacific continues to shoot the lights out, 63% from the floor. Bowman can't respond. His 3 rims out. And Roberts screaming up court. And that's going to be a tough call against Brumfield. That'll be his second, and a mistake there trying to check the guy in transit.
It's a Cardinals sin. You don't want to foul a guy in backcourt. He was going nowhere. Your teammates were back on defense. Now all of a sudden you're sitting down on the floor. Look, just a silly reach with 1 foul. You can't afford to put yourself on the bench.
So the leading rebounders and 2 of the leading scorers for each team are now sitting with 2 personals apiece. Stafford swatted out. Swinton was waiting for it. Danielian, pull up, no, and a rebound by Swinton. Bowman attacks the paint, draws the contact.
Smart play by Bowman. Had missed his last 2 3-point shots. Turned down to 3, gets a little closer to the rim, draws the foul.
Both of these teams are shooting amazing numbers to this point. OBU 60%. Only thing that's killing them, we talked about for Bowman, as with the rest of the team, it's the long range shooting, just 2 of 8 from 3-point line.
Well, the question was, would they be tired for this game? The answer is no. It's taken them 4 games to get warmed up, and now they're shooting it like crazy.
Doug Tolan looking on. His team, 10 straight NAIA trips. 7th trip to the national final. Only 1 title back in 1966. And he was head coach that last appearance in the championship game back in 2002. And interesting for this OBU team, they've played better at this tournament recently than they have in their own conference tournament. They've lost in the first round of their conference tournament the last 3 years.
I guess you can say they were looking ahead.
Maybe so. Got in thanks to their glossy resume and their regular season title in the Sooner Athletic Conference, one of the best conferences in the NAIA in the nation. Both of these teams coming out of power conferences, if you will, at this level.
Well, think about this, Jason. In the last 15 years, 14 times either a Sooner Athletic Conference team or a Golden State Athletic Conference team has played in this championship game.
Certainly says something when those 2 conferences linger around in this national final year after year. A couple of consecutive misses for either team at either end. We haven't seen that much here this first half. And now a foul called. Right now, OBU is struggling to contain Dominic Johnson when he wants to get to the basket.
Well, he is very good at changing pace, changing speeds. And just when you think you have him, he takes it 1 more gear.
Foul on Emmanuel Wilson. That's number 2 for him. I'll check it. They've given it to Steinmetz. And that's his 2nd. Either way, that's team foul number 7 on the Bison. And it will mean a 1-and-1 situation here for Dominic Johnson. Able to cut cord and knock down the first. 75% free throw shooter. And what we've seen so far in this game with him hitting double figures is symbolic of what he's done the last 11 games, shooting 50% from the floor, 46% from 3. It is the right time to find your stroke.
Well, when you're a senior, this is your last go-round, and he is making the most of it.
6-point cushion for APU. All with their leading scorer and rebounder on the bench with 2 fouls, Reggie Owen. Hawkins. Rebound, hops to Stafford. And he'll lead the break. There's good transition defense by OBU as they got back and denied Dominic Johnson.
Good hustle by A.J. Hawkins.
Burgess right down Broadway. And a blocking foul is called. End-to-end action here in Kansas City. What an event here. The NAIA Division I National Championship in Kansas City. 32 teams arrive, 2 remain, but only 1 will have the opportunity to take home the National Championship trophy here in 2010. Jason Aprich, Savosic with you, and the rest of our hardworking CBS College Sports Network crew. Free throw good. On the attempt there by Caleb Burgess. And Azusa Pacific from California with the upper hand by 7. Unusual little free throw technique for Burgess, but it works. The pump fake there to start it.
When you shoot 77%, you can do it any way you would like it.
Lead now 8 for APU. Brumfield has been bothered by that double team. Can't get the tap, does get the offensive board. Stick back, no, but he will make a trip to the free throw line. And without Bulk in the post, they resolved to double personnel.
Well, Brumfield is one of the best passers in the country out of the double team. Nice little bounce pass to Bowman. Bowman on the miss, but Brumfield is just battling on the glass.
Free throw is good. 77% shooter. From Rochester, New York, went to Hutchinson Community College. Big Syracuse fan, rooting for the Orange in the big dance.
You just say that because you're a Syracuse.
He told me, he said, that's my team. Maybe they can win, and we can win. It would be the perfect year for him. He's a guy that grew up in New York State, played against former Orange players Johnny Flynn and Paul Harris in high school. Rebound pulled down by Brumfield.
Well, he's doing everything.
Certainly is. 8 points, 3 rebounds at this juncture. Blocking foul called. Swinton, count that and one.
The double team was slow in arriving. Johnson was slow getting there. Swinton took advantage.
A little celebration for him. Career started at Wake Forest, a couple of years with the Demon Deacons, ending up here. And he really electrified the crowd in the semifinals. In the span of 3 trips down the court, had a follow dunk at one end, block at the other, and then a layup back on the offensive end, part of a 14-0 run for the Bison as they again came back from double digits one more time.
And I had to laugh because then he signaled to the coach that he wanted to come out because he was spent. And the coach told him, turned around so he couldn't see him, so he had to continue to play. Keep your big guy out there.
Our coach is good at that no look.
Oh,
at that
of course.
Point. Strong take from Marshall Johnson to the 10. Yeah, the Johnsons putting their fingerprints on this game. Yeah, when your guy is heating up, unless something's falling off, you're not taking him off the floor, right?
Play through it. Play on. Play on.
Steinmetz. Short of the shot. Stafford the rebound. And again, with back-to-back overtime games for OBU, turning up the pace here for Azusa Pacific certainly plays into its own favor.
A smart play by Dominique Johnson. Pulls it out. He knows the advantage is if they keep moving.
Wide open is Stafford. Can't hit it. Hawkins, baseline. Just grazed the rim. And Katwala, with those 2 personal fouls, gets the rebound. And 2 at the other end for the freshman from California.
Jason, we have 1 minute to go, and there's 3 turnovers in this first half. It has been one of the best played halves of basketball I've seen in a long, long time.
Both teams shooting about 50%, and they've cooled off. Both were upwards of 60% for the majority of the half. Dominique Johnson can't get that runner to go, and Bowman will start up court. Under a minute left to go here in this opening half. Hawkins for 3. And a timeout taken by Justin Leslie. Would like to script something here with 50.1 seconds left to go, and burns a timeout.
Hawkins was too wide open to turn that one down, but he had Swinton on the block. I'm sure Doug Tolan would have preferred that, put the ball inside first, but it's a situation where lack of communication by Azusa Pacific. He is wide open. Swinton, however, wide open on the block.
Now this Oklahoma Baptist team leading the nation as Justin Leslie comes out to question that last sequence. Now, and part of the reason he was out to talk about that was The clock had stopped momentarily, so they're back looking at the clock. The officials are right now to oversee how much time should be put back on here in this final minute or so of play. Here's a clock lower left of your screen and where it halts for a moment. And there for at least
by my count, I had 1,006, so I had about 6 seconds.
Well, the officials looking on, and Doug Tolan on the bench there. His son Kyle alongside. Coach's son in the truest sense of the word for that pair. Kyle played for his dad when Doug coached at Norman High in Oklahoma and played for him at OBU. Now been an assistant since 2006. You want some bonding time with your kid, that's the way to go.
Oh, what a great feel it must be to have your son by your side in a national championship game. It doesn't get any better than that.
More wins than anybody else in the history of the school. They've added 4 seconds back to the clock, so it's 54.1 left to go here in this opening half.
Now you have a decision if you're Azusa Pacific. If you take a quick one here, you got a chance for a 2-for-1 and get 2 possessions for the price of 1 here in the last minute. Oh, now down to 46.
That jumped rather quickly, did it not? Nobody's brought it to anybody's attention at this point. We play on. Swinton spinning, lays it in, and one.
A.J. Hawkins got the message from Doug Tolan in that timeout. Feed the big fella. Swinton, good job on the ball screen, jumps out, gets a steal, and watch Hawkins. Unselfish, gives it up to Swinton. Chance for a 3-point play.
Well, Swinton has been active on the interior. 12 points, 5 rebounds, and the opportunity to add to that.
I tell you, Jason, if you're a young player and you play guard for your team, always reward your big guys for running the floor. Good job by A.J. Hawkins.
Well, the 2 bigs have combined for 21 of Oklahoma Baptist's 40 points to this point, Brumfield and Swinton. But the Bison trail by 5. Shot clock off, 15 seconds on a running clock. Stafford, Swinton went down, no call. On the baseline, in for the flush is Marshall Johnson. That's the way to end a half. Azusa Pacific flying past Oklahoma Baptist in this fast-paced first 20 minutes of action, and the finish here.
The high rise. Marshall Johnson.
The sophomore from Minneapolis, Minnesota, putting it through. Cougars and Bison playing here for an NAIA national championship. Team from California leading the guys from Oklahoma by 7 here at the break in Kansas City. Back here in Kansas City, the Buffalo Fun's NAIA National Championship game in Division I. Azusa Pacific of California 47, Oklahoma Baptist 40 here at halftime. Well, well-played first half. Head coaches gotta like that, especially Guy, coach of the Division I level, former UMKC coach Rich Savosic here with Jason Knapp. And boy, electric at times between these teams. They've survived this tournament to this point, and they're putting on quite a show here in this final.
And well executed. Only 4 turnovers in the first half, 2 by each team, and shooting lights out. And both teams playing to their strengths. On one hand, you have Oklahoma Baptist, who's getting the ball inside to Swinton and Brumfield. On the other hand, Azusa Pacific, unbelievable job. Reggie Owens goes out, 11:30 on the clock, and they get better on the offensive end. They spread the floor. They make Oklahoma Baptist chase them. And are you kidding me? Knocking down threes, getting to the rim. Great first half.
Their lead was 3 when he went out, and you're talking about trying to weather the storm. In fact, they've increased the panic, and they've stretched the lead out to 7 here at the halftime. If you're in the locker room right now, any quick adjustments you have off the top of your head for either of these teams?
Well, if I'm Oklahoma Baptist, I'm sitting there and I'm telling my big guys, hey, you guys got to run the floor a lot harder than what you did in the first half. I thought their primary defense was solid, but their secondary defense, their rotation was a little slow. And a lot of that has to do with Brumfield and Swinton making the rotation and a longer run from the perimeter. If I'm Azusa Pacific, I'm just telling my guys, hey, we got 20 minutes. Keep playing, keep attacking, and if things break down, get the ball to Dominique Johnson. He's a senior. He can make plays.
Certainly can. When you get to tournament time and you get to the second half of big games in tournaments, what becomes paramount in your mind?
Well, again, it's a question of if you're playing from behind, not to panic. If you're playing with the lead, is not to get complacent. You have to keep attacking. So it's really, as Clint Eastwood says, man's got to know his limitations. Both teams know their limitations. They just got to play how they've played for 35 games.
Well, these teams trying to make NAIA history. Talking about more NAIA history, the PA announcer here at Municipal Auditorium, Cal Butcher, introducing Travis Grant, all-time leading scorer in NAIA history. Here's a listen.
Travis Grant.
I grew up in a little town in rural Alabama, and if you had an opportunity to watch the HBO documentary Black Magic, you saw Coach Ben Joe describe below poverty level living conditions my family had to endure. My mother couldn't afford to buy a basketball hoop for me, and I had to improvise by cutting the bottom out of a 5-gallon can, nailing it to the front of the house, and spending countless hours developing a jump shot that has been considered to be one of the best in the game. A gymnasium. Most of the games were played on a dirt court, and I was small, and I used to play 10 cent to go out and watch the game. You know, lined it up like a soccer field, and we got a chance to go out during 6th period and watch the game. Fortunate when I got to be in the 8th grade, we had a new gymnasium, and I would hate to think where I would be today if we hadn't got that gymnasium. And that's where everything began. Great for me. A lot of scouts always showed up here because they know the talent was here. And it was a fair tournament. It was a fair tournament, 32 teams, and the best team win. And everybody, no home court, everybody had to play on a neutral court. And in all cases, the best team won that tournament. It wasn't nobody could say I had to play on their home court or we got some home cooking. It wasn't that way. You know, if you deserved to win out here at NAIA, it was the fairest and toughest tournament to play. It was unbelievable when we leave the hotel and come through that tunnel. That's something that I'll never forget, you know, coming through the tunnel into the Municipal Auditorium and in front of a sellout crowd. And everybody, I guess after that first championship or so, it was like a home team. We had a lot of support out here, other than just Kentucky State people, and I think we still do. You know, a lot of people still remember those Kentucky State years because I just been visiting some of the people in Kansas City since I've been here. They still talk about those years that we played out here in the NAIA tournament. I would like for them to remember me as a player. Anytime I touched the court, they could expect me to play 100% and to play hard from start to finish. And whether we win or lose, it was not because of lack of effort. And anytime I stepped on the court, it was going to get 100% from me.
Will present Travis Grant a 40th anniversary plaque for both team and individual accomplishments. Now in 2010, Travis still holds 7 NAIA tournament records, and when he walked off the court in 1972, he was a 3-time national champion and was the all-time leading scorer in the history of college basketball at any level. He is considered one of the all-time great college players to ever play the game and was inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame this past November. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a rousing NAIA welcome and congratulations to the legendary Travis Grant. This is the court he called home.
If you ever wanted to know who scored more points than anybody else in college basketball history, that man is in the building. Travis Grant, standout, over 4,000 career points at Kentucky State, 3 straight NAIA national titles, tournament most valuable player 2 years in a row, #1 pick of the Los Angeles Lakers in 1972, played for them and 3 other teams. He used to call him the machine, the way he could fill it up. And he's gone on to impact the lives of others, been a teacher and administrator in schools in Atlanta for about a quarter century. Welcome back to Kansas City with honors tonight. Halftime here, this 2010 NAIA National Championship. Azusa Pacific up by 7. Halftime continues here in Kansas City. The 2010 Buffalo Funds NAIA National Championship Division I basketball. Azusa Pacific from California leading Oklahoma Baptist 47-40. Jason Knapp back here. Happy to be joined by Jay Slusher, the relationship manager for Buffalo Funds here based in the Kansas area, title sponsor for this event. Yes. Hey, entertaining first half of basketball,
you cannot beat this half of basketball. That's absolutely correct. I'm fortunate enough to be one of the honorary coaches for Azusa Pacific, so I've been right up close to the action all first half.
So you've had a good seat at watching this team kind of slide through the tournament.
The entire tournament. They're the definition of team, I must admit.
Yeah, certainly, it seems to be one of the teams getting here to the championship. Right. You guys have been involved here with the NAIA a couple of years, going to be the title sponsor for a few more at least.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about the relationship and why Buffalo Funds got involved.
Well, absolutely. John Cornitzer, Mr. Cornitzer, was a very passionate basketball fan that grew up on the NAIA tournament and was sad to see it go down to Tulsa for a few years, and was a big driving force behind getting him back to Kansas City, and we're going to be a part of it for at least through 2013. So it's exciting for us. It's exciting for me personally because I grew up on this tournament myself. There was nothing better as a youth athlete than looking forward to the tournament coming in and taking the day off school and going with the buddies to watch a lot of basketball, take a brown bag lunch in, and have a lot of fun.
And the relationship for a lot of your clients, when they know that you're involved with the tournament, what's the feedback that you get?
This is the type of feedback that we're looking for. They really are the type of customers and clients that can get involved with the community. Buffalo Funds is really working hard to get its name out there and to show that we're one of the premier investment managers around.
7-point lead for your team that you're honorary coach. Are you taking any of the credit here at halftime?
Well, I'm, as I said, I'm the best dressed honorary coach out there, that's for sure. But no, Coach Leslie has got his team where they need to be. It's Oklahoma Baptist. I had the fortune of watching them practice last week, and they are a stacked, very, very big team. But it's going to be a fun second half, I can tell you that.
Well, Jay Slusher on the winning bench, maybe the leading bench right now, certainly winner overall with Buffalo Funds and the sponsorship here at the NAIA. Jay, thanks for the time.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
Halftime here continues in Kansas City. Second half just around the corner of this national championship. Downtown here in Kansas City, this tournament started in this town over 70 years ago, returned in 2002 back in its original home, Municipal Auditorium here in Kansas City in the second half of this 2010. The Buffalo Funds NAIA Division I National Championship right here. Azusa Pacific out of California, 7-point lead on Oklahoma Baptist. Cougars from California in the white, OBU in the green, and play underway. And the guys in foul trouble back in. That includes Reggie Owens, who sat for half of the first half for Azusa Pacific, but a three-pointer from the corner for Garrett Steinmetz gets things started. At the other end, Dominic Johnson a little out of control.
So as Coach Justin Leslie told his team at halftime, it's going to be pounded inside, and it's going to be a guy like Steinmetz who's going to have the advantage because they're going to continue to double. If he can make threes, Oklahoma Baptist can get back in his game.
Yeah. The Bison just 2 of 12 from long range in that opening half, but Steinmetz got a 3, and they get another key bucket, and suddenly that Cougar lead has been shriveled down to 2. Owens tried to kick it back to the corner to Burgess and out of play. Here's a look at the overall first half numbers. All the check marks in favor of Azusa Pacific, but certainly OBU didn't play itself out of this game in that first half.
Well, they're used to playing from behind. Double-digit deficits in their 3 previous games, but 12 for 12 from the foul line. Just outstanding for Azusa Pacific in that first half.
Down by 15 in the second round against Texas Wesleyan. Down by 16 with 14 left in the quarterfinal, 1 in OT. Down by 13 in the first half last night to Robert Morris in the semifinals. They are the comeback kids of this tournament, the Bison from Oklahoma Baptist. And they're a bucket away from tying it, 3 away from taking the lead. They'll take the tie. Hawkins. First tie since it was knotted at 25 apiece with about 9 minutes left in the first half. Steele, Steinmetz. Garrett going strong, and he'll earn the trip to the line. And the fans that have made the trek from Shawnee, Oklahoma, it's about 30 miles east of Oklahoma City, about a 6-hour drive here. They are in full throat right now, cheering on their squad as they have surged out of the locker room and evaporated that Cougar lead.
Well, a couple of nights ago, Garrett Steinmetz was the spark in the second half that helped Oklahoma Baptist come from behind against Biola to start this second half. A 3, a steal. Now he's going to have a chance for 2 free throws. A little deja vu.
It's interesting. Azusa Pacific played so well without their big man in the middle for that long stretch in the first half. They've got to readjust almost to having him back in there. They've looked a little out of sync.
They certainly do, because all of a sudden you have a different offensive pattern, a different set when you have Reggie Owens in the game, because now you're playing with a guy in the post. A little different than what they did for the final 10 minutes of that first half, where they kept the post open, spread it out, and just chucked and ducked from deep.
And here's how the Bison responded to start this second half. First of all, Steinmetz, good look from the corner. That's a pretty looking shot. And then action on the inside. Hawkins twirling in. And then another deuce.
And Jason, what you didn't catch on that replay was a great back screen by Swinton that freed up Hawkins on that cut.
He is leading them in scoring and doing all the little things as well. Coming off a double-double in the semifinal against Robert Morris with 20 and 12 rebounds. 13 and 6 so far tonight for the 6'8" junior from Greensboro, North Carolina. And now Steinmetz gets to the free throw line. He is a 81% shooter from the stripe. OBU back in front and on top, actually, for the first time in this game. And they were trading buckets in a flurry, but they never had the top spot of this game till early here now in the second half.
This is test time for Azusa Pacific. Led the entire first half. Now they got to play from behind. Let's see if they do it as well as Oklahoma Baptist does.
Burgess from 3. Such a spark in the semifinal. His first triple tonight. And APU jumps right back on top. Foul on the floor before the shot against Burgess. And that's a good thing, because Brumfield had a head of steam. And when that happens, look out.
Well, I got to tell you this, though. Coming out of that timeout, well executed, well drawn up play that frees Burgess. You don't go to Owens, you go to the guy who is the three-point shooter, and he delivers.
Swinson back out to Bowman. Front rim, what a rebound, Swinton. Layup, no. Marshall Johnson thinking baseline, has it poked away. Bowman with the theft. Well, not too many turnovers, 4 combined for the teams in the first half. Cougars already have 3 here in the first 3 minutes of the second half. Swinton can't cash it in. Blumfield going for the steal, and he touched it last. Mike Tadelian back in, and replacing Marshall Johnson for Azusa Pacific. The Cougars going for a double tonight. Their women's team playing in the NAIA Division I Women's National Championship. First school since Southern Nazarene to have both the men and the women hoop teams in the NAIA finals in the same year. So going for the double dip.
Oh, I tell you, Bill Odell, who was the former head men's coach at Azusa Pacific, now the athletic director, did a great job in building this program. He has got to be, I mean, his chest has to be pumped out so far to have both teams playing for a national championship.
Owens misses the first free throw. The women are down in Jackson, Tennessee. So AD, both teams are in the final. Can't just pick one, so he's staying home and watching. But tonight, they've been planning this big leadership meeting on campus for months. There's alumni, student leaders, campus leaders to discuss the future plans on campus. I don't know how much work they're going to get done tonight with back-to-back national championships here at the CBS College Sports Network. The one thing I think they have to plan for in the future, when you've got 2 really good basketball teams, don't plan a big meeting on championship night.
Well, here's the plans in this meeting. Build a bigger trophy case.
We'll see if they come home with the hardware later on tonight against the women following us here on the CBS College Sports Network. Right now, APU try to hang on here. There's a revitalized Bison squad coming out of the locker room with 9 straight before the Cougars have responded. Tadelian off the turnover. Burgess short. Tracked down to the corner by Hawkins. Hawkins taking it, making it, and one.
No hesitation by A.J. Hawkins, and Katala is slow on the rotation, and he has a chance for a 3-point play.
Certainly does. That's number 3 on Christian Katwala. Brumfield with a 3rd personal.
Jason, it's no wonder that both teams are tied at 51. They're almost mirror images of each other. You have Owens in the post, Brumfield in the post. You have Steinmetz on the perimeter shooting threes, Burgess shooting threes, Dominique Johnson going to the rim, A.J. Hawkins going to the rim.
And both of these teams utilizing their personnel to break through here to this national final. Both coaches talking this morning with respect for one another and what they've accomplished throughout this season. The defense there by the Bison as they collapse inside. Dump down, Swinton. Triple team there for a moment. Steinmetz can't hit the open 3, but a foul on Burgess trying to block out Tyler Parker of the Bison. Well, the fans from Oklahoma Baptist happy their squad back in it, tied here in the second half of the national championship.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bill Rosentrader speaking, Public Relations Director for the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. We are here in the magnificent $6 million Municipal Auditorium of Kansas City, Missouri tonight.
Union Station here in Kansas City, one of the great Sights in this wonderful Midwestern metropolis, and here the Buffalo Funds NAIA National Championship for 2010. 51-51 between Azusa Pacific and Oklahoma Baptist. Joining us here courtside, Jim Carr, President and CEO of the NAIA. Two good teams, tied, second half, national championship, energy, good crowd. What more can you ask for?
Doesn't get any better than that. You know, when you show up, Jason, we seem to have good games. I don't know what it is.
It's worked out pretty well. This tournament back here in Kansas City now, it's been here almost for its second stint for about a decade. You must be pleased with how things have turned around.
We're very pleased. I mean, the city has always embraced the NAIA, and we moved back in 2001. It's coming home, and it's been fantastic for us.
A bucket there on the drive puts OBU back in front. Owens now on the block. Turnaround, got it to go. Again, missed a huge chunk of time with foul trouble in the first half. Now has 7 in the game. We expect to see APU go to him on the interior at critical points throughout. Hawkins, the drive stop. Bowman, baseline, back outside. Steinmetz, wide open three, short. And now a foul here offensively. A loose ball foul against OBU. Here's another look at the battle here, and you lose a shoe, just gutting it out there, Coach.
There's no stoppage. You got to move. Good hustle play.
Ashton Roberts going to try to put that sneaker on quickly. Now we are here courtside with Jim Carr, President CEO of the NAIA. We touched a little bit about the tournament and the success, but certainly for the NAIA with your 300 member schools and just overall the fall and the winter, it's been great not only on the fields of play but in the classroom as well.
Yeah, it's a fantastic environment. We've got great student athletes that certainly love to play, and as we see tonight, very high level of competition. But they're at their institutions to get an education and to become better people, and it's just been a fantastic experience and a good season for us.
Owens on the block, nice entry pass from Zane Mail. Sticks it in for 2. So much we talk about your motto, the champions of character, and what that translates. We've seen that great sportsmanship throughout this event.
Yeah, it's amazing every year. You know, we rarely have any misconduct or any events. The teams all stay at the same hotel together, all 32 over at the Marriott across the street. And in the 10 years we've been back, just no incidents. And guys really get a chance to know each other, and that's what it's all about.
Swinton able to shake free on the baseline inside.
But both teams going down to their post guys. What do you think? Jim, you were an old post guy.
I usually hung out around the three-point line, so they're too strong in there for me. I sit outside and launch.
Jim, you get people that grew up with this tournament in Kansas City. They understand what's at stake for a lot of these schools and players. As Steinmetz tries to give his squad the lead, and the Cougars ready to break back. Dominique Johnson hasn't been shy about going to the cup, and again takes it strong. The point I'm going to make, Jim, is for people that haven't been here in person, what this means for this city and this environment and your member schools.
Yeah, it's a Kansas City legend. Everybody running to Kansas City has a story about coming down to the tournament with a mom or dad. And, it's just fantastic. And then for the kids to come out, get to spend the whole week and play in front of the same people. The fans get to know the teams. Believe it or not, people come in and watch all 31 games. It's incredible.
Swinton answers immediately. These teams trading buckets with great proficiency at either end. Missed there from Dominique Johnson. Rebound and speed from Bowman. Dominique going for the steal, can't get it. Hawkins inside the line, knocks it down. OBU hops back on top. Azusa Pacific, Jim, double duty tonight. The men and the women's championship. What an accomplishment for that school to play in the final.
I had a conversation with their president recently. I know he's just very proud of the two teams, and just a tremendous institution. But they obviously have kids who can play as well. But they really are an institution that stands for everything that's good about the NAIA, values and character, and just my hat's off to them that they're both in the championship.
Owens working the offensive glass now. Bowman able to pull it down. Key rebound there for one of the smallest guys on the floor at 5'11". Swinton wants somebody maybe more adept at handling the basketball to come get it. He got it to Parker. And now back to Hawkins. 15 left in the shot clock. 6 left to shoot. Steinmetz off the screen. Gets it to go. Working the shot clock, working to perfection there for Oklahoma Baptist. It's a long 2. The advantage is 4. Owens on the inside. Nice chest pass there from Mayo. That's back-to-back assists for the lefty from Australia.
Well, Jason, they've been able to build this lead and maintain it with their best player, Brumfield, on the bench. Doug Tolan gambling, keeping him on the bench, trying to keep him fresh for the last 10 minutes of the game.
Both teams shooting very well, over 50%. Not a surprise. They're both among the leaders in shooting percentage in the nation. Count that and the foul. Now, our thanks to Jim Carr, President and CEO of the NAIA. Congratulations on another great event.
All right, thank you guys for everything you did for us.
Here in this second half, back and forth they go in Kansas City. The breather for Nate Brumfield with 3 personal fouls is about 4 or 5 minutes. He took a seat here early in the second half. Doug Tolan says now is the time to bring him back in. And you're missing a guy that averages about 23 and 8.5 rebounds per game.
Well, championship games are won by coaches who win the gamble during the game. That was a gamble to keep him on the bench for 5 minutes. And his teammates responded. A.J. Hawkins making plays, Kevin Swinton scoring. Now, can they readjust to him being back in the game?
We saw it took the Cougars a little time when Owens returned after missing a large chunk of the first half. What will the transition be like here for the Bison? Off the missed free throw. And here's Stafford.
Well, Owens on the bench taking a breather. Azusa Pacific 5 out, no posts.
Dominique Johnson driving it off glass and good.
And that's the benefit of 5 out. It opens up a driving lane for Dominique Johnson.
Buffalo Funds NAIA National Championship here at hallowed Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City. Jason Knapp, Rich Savosic with you. Azusa Pacific out of California, Oklahoma Baptist, the Bison. These two teams each have been here for more than 10 years in a row. 2 of the longest current streaks of getting here to this national tournament. APU's never won the national title. OBU not since 1966, but trying to change that. A.J. Hawkins with the shot clock about to expire just turned and fired and scored.
The toughest thing for a college coach, get your team to reverse the basketball. Oklahoma Baptist making the extra pass. Outstanding.
Hawkins now has 15 for the Bison. Dominique Johnson, no. Kutwala with a rebound. Stick back is good.
All of a sudden, Kevin Swinton not in the game. There's no danger in taking that inside shot.
And Swinton getting a little bit of a breather here. Midway second half. Brumfield now working in the high post. Steinmetz fouled by Danielian. That's number 2 on the senior. Six team fouls here in this second half on Azusa Pacific. Just 2 personals on OBU. And we'll see if the Bison get the opportunity to capitalize a bunch from the free throw line here as we head down the stretch in the second half. Not a shooting foul on that last one. And 1 away from the bonus. So the restart from the side. And there's team number 7. And the free throws starting to come now for OBU.
And that's the wrong guy on the line if you're Azusa Pacific. Steinmetz an 80% foul shooter.
Both of these teams pretty proficient from the line. OBU is 70% during the regular season from the strike as a team. We talked about the deficits that OBU has overcome in the game and talking to Doug Tolan about that. Some of that Coach, it's got to be the way they play. They go inside in, try to wear you down, those bigs, and then the opportunities come from the free throw line, so they're stronger down the stretch.
That's exactly what happens. They wear their opponents out. When you got a big body like Swinton and Brumfield, eventually it takes a toll, and that's exactly what has happened in the 3 tournament games.
Right now they come back from a first half deficit, not as severe as in past games, and they've turned it in their favor. Dominique Johnson down the lane. That's Swinton trying to lay out for the block. Let's see who they give it to. It's on Wilson instead. That's his third.
You can see Wilson with the little bit of a reach on Johnson. Swinton was in perfect position to take the charge. It's unfortunate that Wilson got a little anxious and reached in at the last moment.
Dominique Johnson stepping to the line. His school about 25 miles outside of Los Angeles in the San Gabriel Valley, Azusa Pacific. 42 undergrad students, and we talked about both of those teams playing in the championship. They've won the NAIA Directors Cup last 5 years in a row. That's awarded to the top overall athletic program in the NAIA.
I mean, that just shows you that Bill O'Dell, who was the basketball coach, it's not just all about basketball. It is all sports at Azusa Pacific.
You know, he was never able to get one as a head coach. He's got the opportunity as an AD to get 2 in one night.
Oh, and I'm telling you this, since he coached Leslie and Justin Leslie was his assistant, he will enjoy it just as much.
Foul there against Stafford. That's his first. Brumfield will get to the line. Nate missing. Gets his own rebound off the tip, lays it in.
Garrett Steinmetz keeping it alive, tipping it to Brumfield.
He's one of 4 players in double figures scoring wise for OBU. Brumfield has a dozen. Stafford. 3-ball rattles out. Rebound. Kutzwala. And he's fouled inside. Should be on Swinson, and it is. That's his second.
Good weak side box out. You see Katala, even though he's the offensive guy, he was boxing out Swinton. He understands that when the ball is shot on one side, 80% of the time, it comes off on the opposite.
Kutzwala able to put it in. And Justin Leslie, we talked about Bill O'Dell as former coach when he was a player. He was only 32 years old, got back into the coaching game. He graduated after being a great player, got his MBA, went into the business world, said, you know what? I miss being in the gym, miss the practice. I see your eyes lighting up right now, Coach. You understand.
He couldn't get it out of his blood.
He said, I took a major pay cut to come back. An assistant job opened up. He jumped at it, got back in, and was on the staff for Coach O'Dell at the time. And then when he moved into the AD spot, he got the top job and now has the chance to lead his alma mater to the ultimate prize. You know that once it's in your blood, it's tough to get it out.
And he's doing it for the right reasons. Obviously, it's not the fame or the fortune. It's all about the kids.
His team in a battle here. Second half of this national championship. Bowman, good look. Almost. Swinton in the right spot as it caromed right to him. Fresh shot clock here for the Bison with a 1-point lead. Hawkins weaving in, and it falls.
Well, that time Brumfield was able to get a piece of Johnson, freeing up Hawkins.
Hawkins and Swinton lead the way for the Bison with 17 points apiece. Dominique Johnson has 17 to lead the charge for the Cougars. Dominique Johnson for the tie. Yes!
Every time they have needed a big basket, it has been Dominique Johnson. I always believed when I was a coach that when your seniors make plays, you win games. Right now, Dominique Johnson is making them.
Out of Osborne High School in Detroit by way of Southwest Tennessee Community College. Here comes Johnson again. He'll kick to the other Johnson. Marshall missed everything, and that'll be OBU basketball. Last game of Dominique Johnson's career. He wants to go out as a national champion here in Kansas City. Look at the skyline here in Kansas City. Illuminated brightly on a night like this inside here at Municipal Auditorium. Both of these teams have been shining bright as well. Some impressive numbers on the offensive end for both of these squads.
Well, as expected, Oklahoma Baptist, 54% from the floor because they pound the ball inside. And Azusa Pacific just shooting lights out from the three-point line.
Doing a wonderful job from deep and getting it done from the free throw line as well. Kevin Swinton you saw there, and Oklahoma Baptist #1 in the nation in field goal percentage. They were second in Division I in scoring margin, winning by an average of 20 points per game. Somehow I don't envision that happening down the stretch here of this national championship. The lead has been relatively close on either end, no matter who's been in front the entire way. That's on the inside. Owens trying to defend.
The way this game has been played, with each team having their spurt on offense, it could come down to who has the ball on the final possession.
The foul is not on Owens, it's on Stafford. That's his 4th. Free throw good from Swinton. And Stafford will exit, and they'll bring back in Dominique Johnson. Get the sense that that's probably good, no disrespect to Stafford, but at this point they need Owens on the floor.
Well, they certainly do, because he gives them something in the post that they've missed.
And they have spare guards, spare bigs at a premium right now for APU. Free throws, putting the Bison back on top by 2. 6 minutes left to go in this 2010 NAIA Division I National Championship. Owens versus Swinton. Owens with the W there and the deuce.
Well, right on cue, right inside Owens.
13 points now for him in just 17 minutes of game action. Bounce pass out of the hands of Hawkins. Marshall Johnson flying in for the jam.
He left no doubt.
The Johnson & Johnson aerial show tonight. Dominique and Marshall, they are not related, except they both play basketball for the Cougars, and they both can fly. Brumfield. Jumper no. In the corner. That's Marshall Johnson with a loose ball. And Swinton trying to gather himself at the other end. He has come up lame. Not sure if it's a cramp or not, but he can barely move. And now, timeout on the floor.
It looks like his calf is cramped up.
And they called a foul. That was the reason for the stoppage. Marshall Johnson called for the foul, trying to stop the break. Here's another look at how he got hurt.
Ooh, you can almost see his calf already starting to bulge, and it's a little surprising after 5 games that more guys aren't cramping up.
You saw just out of the edge of your screen, Swinton going in at least to the hallway to get some work done by the training staff to try to return to the floor, and that would be critical for OBU. He has done a wonderful job tonight. 19 points, 8 rebounds.
Similar situation last night. He takes a shot to the solar plexus, gets the wind knocked out of him, is out of the game for 2 minutes. I don't know what the trainer did. Magic fingers. He came back and had a strong finish. Let's see if he can do it again tonight.
APU by 1, under 5 to go. Roberts. Entry pass. Owens collects it, turns, gets the roll.
You can't let him catch it that close to the basket. He's too wide.
6'5", 270, and packs a scoring punch. Double team Brumfield. Kick out. Bowman launching three, lands it. We're tied again.
Good extra pass by Steinmetz. Didn't catch it clean. Saw Bowman open.
Bowman now in double figures. Make it 5 Bison players scoring 10 or more. Owens. Forget it when it's in close like that.
Well, Bowman tried to come over and double, but you can't come soft. Come hard or don't come at all, Reggie Owens says.
Playing with a torn knee ligament last handful of weeks of the season and through this national championship. Steinmetz for the lead.
Unbelievable. Bowman returns the favor from the previous possession.
There have been a lot of great national championship affairs in this tournament in its 70-plus years of history. This looks like it's going to rank among the best of them. Dominique Johnson down the lane, hit the deck, and a foul. Woo, down the stretch we come. The excitement here in Kansas City. Last year it was unseeded Rocky Mountain College from Montana winning the NAIA title here in Kansas City. First ever national championship for the Battling Bears. Could the Cougars of Azusa Pacific bring it home to Southern California for the first time? Well, right now they have work to do, trailing by 1 with 3:18 left to go. Oklahoma Baptist trying to take the title home to Shawnee, Oklahoma for the first time since 1966. On the inside, counted for Dominique Johnson off the restart. APU back on top. 9 ties, 8 lead changes here in the second half, and seemingly most of those here in the last 5 minutes or so.
Well, Justin Leslie, one of the best at diagramming out-of-bounds plays out of the timeout. Well drawn, well executed.
Steinmetz, another 3 attempt. This one doesn't go. Owens can't save it.
Jason, I think the third most important person in this building right now behind Brumfield and Owens or Johnson is probably the trainer for Oklahoma Baptist, who is working on Kevin Swinton, trying to get him back in the game. And they need him in the paint.
And the guy that's leading them in points in this game, coming up with a cramp and working on him in the hallway adjacent to the playing surface, trying to get him loosened back up to get back in the game. Loose ball, hops back to Steinmetz of OBU. Brumfield, pass inside, kept alive. Bowman for 3. Parker, the rebound, lost it. Dominique Johnson wants to take it, blocking foul call.
Dominique Johnson just on the fly. The crossover. Oh, good call by the official.
There is
sliding a little bit.
There is no yellow light in his world. It is green all the time, right?
It is definitely green. I'm telling you.
He sees an opening and goes. And now stepping to the free throw line.
He just shifts it into overdrive.
This team has been super from the free throw line. 16 of 18, make it 17 of 19. Justin Leslie looking on. His team trying to do all the little things. The numbers look pretty good. 56% from the floor, 47% from 3, and over 90% from the free throw line. There's Swinton coming back, moving a little bit, hopes to get back in the game. Doug Tolan taking a timeout right now, maybe to do just that.
A good timeout. You get a chance to see if Swinton is okay, kind of stretch the game a little bit. More importantly, though, crucial possession, teaching his players that 2 minutes and 15 seconds, if you can get something going to the goal, that's just as good as taking a 3 right now, even though you're down 3. So if you're Justin Leslie at Azusa Pacific, you're saying one thing: don't let Brumfield beat us. Make someone else beat us besides Brumfield.
Well, he has the ability to do that. We talked about his depth touch as a passer, leads the team in assists as well. Last night, Brumfield was killer in the final seconds of overtime with a twisting, beautiful floater down the lane with 3.3 seconds left in overtime. Joked after the game, hey man, that's my move.
It was his move.
It was a beautiful move and sent OBU on to the national final. Does he have the right move this time? Not with a double team in his face. The tie up, almost there. Turnover. Say he went out of bounds. And you talked about his dominance. He's got 13 points and 5 rebounds tonight. That's pretty good defense if you're the Cougars.
It certainly is. And on that possession, he's looking for a guy, but poor spacing by Oklahoma Baptist. There was nowhere to go.
Under 2 minutes left. Azusa Pacific from California. Up 3. And a timeout taken. Well, excuse me. Foul on the inside. A hold. And free throws coming up for the Cougars. And the foul on Steinmetz. And that was well away from the basketball. And Steinmetz, there he is.
Just kind of grabs his jersey a little bit.
And the way the Cougars are shooting free throws, that's not a great foul at this point. Danilian continues the onslaught, knocks down another. 20 of 22 from the stripe.
80% of games that are tight in the last 5 minutes come down to making free throws. Azusa Pacific and Oklahoma Baptist, both excellent free throw shooting teams, but right now Azusa Pacific upper hand.
5-point lead. Critical possession here for the Bison. Brumfield back out to Bowman. Thought about it. Re-enters the post. Triple team there. No problem.
Unbelievable. They threw everything at him, but the kitchen's sink, and he still scores.
Now we've got a whistle and a stoppage. Not sure if we have another clock issue. We did have one late in the first half.
The patience he shows and his demeanor when he catches the ball in the post. There's no rush. It's just, let me clear some space with my broad shoulders.
An impressive performance here throughout this tournament. Top player in the nation. And showing you why tonight with another gutty performance despite working through foul trouble in the game. They've got the clock rectified. It stopped again for a little bit. They took 2 seconds off it. It was restarted now with 1:16, and it's moving down towards the final minute of this Buffalo Funds NAIA National Championship. OBU intent to just play good defense here, and then there's a foul away from the ball.
Little ticky-tack foul.
Hawkins, I think, is a little mad at himself. Couldn't really get around that screen and then made contact with his man. That's his 3rd foul. 8th as a team on OBU, so it's a 1-and-1 here for Dominique Johnson. And a miss. Just the third miss in 23 attempts from the line in this game for APU, but it's a biggie. OBU can tie it with a 3. Swinton inside, triple teamed again, and a foul call.
Good decision by Oklahoma Baptist. Even though you're down 3, plenty of time. You don't have to take a hurried 3. Ball goes inside to Swinton as he turns to spin. Gets clocked in the head. He's had a rough night.
Got the cramp on the right leg. Now a little shot to the face. And trying to get a little towel off. He and the trainer. Trainer,
first name basis
trainer working on a visit basis. He's making some cash tonight. He has spent a lot of time with Swinton, and it's well worth it what Kevin has done on the floor tonight for OBU.
Now here is the rule change that went into place this year. When you sub for an injured player, the opposing coach gets to pick the free throw shooter. Unlike in the past where guy gets injured and a coach can put in a better free throw shooter.
Well, he is the next worst free throw shooter among that group. Hawkins is only 61% in the regular season, so Swinton does exit. That is the rule. And Justin Leslie, I think, discussing that right now, and now there's a timeout here on the floor.
Jason, I like this rule change. Not saying that any coach in the past told a player to fake an injury to get a better free throw shooter in there. But on the other hand, this really now, it becomes a strategy move because Justin Leslie turns to his assistants and says, all right, those 4 guys on the floor, who's the worst free throw shooter? So it's something that you prepare for really in reverse, because when you're behind, you're yelling at your assistants to, hey, who do we foul? Who do we foul to put on the line? Now it's who do we put on the line in place of this injured player?
Just another something to dump on the assistant coaches to have in their pocket of who we got to put on the line if we need to. That's something else they've got to know now. Not only who do we not want to foul, who do we want to put on the line?
Well, that is a very important role for assistants to know who to foul. And sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. We'll see which way A.J. Hawkins goes.
It's interesting. This is the first time I've seen this all year in a college game with a guy going out and the opposing coach now having the opportunity to pick his replacement. Hawkins drains the first. Second one coming up for the senior from Oklahoma City. That one stays out. Loose. Brumfield the rebound. Kick out. Hawkins for the lead.
Wow. Talk about unselfish. Brumfield could have forced the shot, but he gives Hawkins a wide open look.
He can't make 2 free throws. Instead, he makes 1 freebie and a 3-ball, and OBU goes in front.
It is only fitting that the NAIA has a champions of character. This is character by a player on the floor. Could have forced it. Nobody would have questioned the force, but he kicks it to Hawkins, and Hawkins lines it up and drills it.
Long-range shooting has not been spot on tonight for the Bison, but they get one when they need one. Just 6 of 23 from deep in this game, 26%, but it's number 25 that hits the biggest shot of this game to this point.
Most important recruit for Doug Tolan over the past couple of years, Adam Hawkins. Why? Because he's A.J. Hawkins' brother. It's like Oklahoma University down the street. Blake Griffin came there because he wanted to play with his brother Tyler Griffin. And lo and behold, A.J. Hawkins delivers.
Leaves Wichita State, come play where his brother played. And Hawkins has delivered the biggest hoop of the season for Oklahoma Baptist. might be a national championship winner, but 31.1 seconds left to go. If you're APU now, what's your best option?
Well, I think you go to Dominic Johnson. He is the guy who has delivered all night long. But if they single cover Reggie Owens, you certainly go to him.
Owens setting the high screen. Dominic Johnson down the lane, lost it. Got it back, possession arrow favoring APU. What a hustle play on the ground by David Stafford to save it and maybe save the day for the Cougars.
Well, he certainly did. He gave up his body for his teammates. And only fitting that the arrow should go to Azusa Pacific so that we keep the tension alive.
Oklahoma Baptist by 1, 19.3 seconds left. They haven't won an NAIA national title since 1966. Their 5 trips to the national final over the years, besides that one in 66, came up empty. And here's another look at that last loose ball.
Oh, Brumfield gets a knockaway, and Stafford, like a fullback, diving on the ball. And again, a lot of players would just bend over and not understand that the most important thing at this point in the game is possession. And you go at it, both hands, both feet.
Well, they looked like they were setting up Johnson on that last play. Similar theme here, you switching it up if you're Justin Leslie.
Well, I like what they did. They had Owens set the ball screen for Johnson, trying to isolate those two on the same side. So look for either them to try and get Owens in the block or maybe a kickback to Johnson for the shot.
They've been effective on restarts tonight. They dump it out to Owens through the hands of Dominic Johnson, and a turnover.
Johnson stumbles coming off of that screen.
Timeout taken by OBU.
You can see he actually catches his foot on Burgess's foot.
Well, right now the focus for the Cougars shifts from offense to defense. 16 seconds left. What's your strategy here if you're Justin Leslie right now?
Well, if you're Justin Leslie, you're telling your team, full out face guard. Put a guy at midcourt, center field, go for the steal, go for the 5-second count. If you don't get the 5-second count, foul immediately. You don't have time to worry about who to foul. If you are Oklahoma Baptist, you are telling your guys, hey, we still have 2 timeouts. If you can't get it in, make sure you burn a timeout. Secondly, you must run through the pass so that Azusa Pacific can't step in and steal.
Here we go. Hawkins looking to trigger it. Gets it in barely to Emmanuel Wilson. Up the side, and the foul comes. And he will get to take some pretty big free throws, the sophomore out of Norman North High School in Oklahoma. And he's a superb free throw shooter at 87%.
Wilson had that flurry in the first half with a 3 and a putback and a steal. Has been quiet since then.
2 shots coming up. OBU is in the double bonus. Azusa Pacific has no timeouts remaining, so they need to go here regardless. That may help the cause. The miss on the first free throw attempt from Wilson.
So right now, if you're Azusa Pacific, most important, box out on the free throw. Secondly, get the ball into Dominic Johnson's hands and see if he can't get to the rim.
Now Wilson would like to make it a 2-point game. Can't. Rebound. Rolled in by Owens. Here we go. Azusa Pacific down 1. 5 seconds left. Dominic Johnson for the win. Rebound. Loose. Shot. They wave it off. They wave it off. Oklahoma Baptist has won the NAIA National Championship. They will take a look at the replay, but it seemed from our vantage point it was after time had expired.
It certainly did. Dominic Johnson fading a little bit too strong. Marshall Johnson trying to keep it alive.
And in his hands,
clearly after the shot,
when the clock hit 0. The officials will take their time, do their due diligence. Kind of kills a little of the celebration here for OBU, but you want to make sure you get it right.
It's certainly from our vantage point, it does look like the light had gone off.
And the clock at that point at 000. The OBU fans think it's going to stand.
You can see the outside official waving it off. He had a view of both the shooter and the light going off on the scoreboard.
And the light was off before it's there. They look at it again. They confer. And it's no good. Doug Tolan and Oklahoma Baptist celebrate. More wins than any other team in NAIA tournament history, and their first championship in over 40 years.
Just an outstanding effort by both teams. The ebb and flow of this game was unbelievable. Dominic Johnson making big play after big play. Nate Brumfield the same. But how about A.J. Hawkins?
Nine ties, 9 lead changes in this half. The most thrilling off the missed free throw from A.J. Hawkins, gets it back and sticks the 3.
You always talk about it all the time. It's stick-to-itivity that wins games. Oklahoma Baptist stuck to it to the end.
This game produced by the NAIA in association with the CBS College Sports Network. For Jason Knapp, Rich Savosic, thanks for watching. This has been a presentation of the CBS College Sports Network. Oklahoma Baptist comes back again to win it all here in Kansas City.
Azusa Pacific.
Buffalo Funds will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the honoree school in his name. This tournament's most valuable player is Nate Brumfield.
Outside the Steinmetz, one of their top three-point shooters. Swinton trying to weave in, does, up and under for two.
Field catches the ball on the perimeter to shade and help.
And there's Nate coming in for the slam. This NAIA Division I National Championship in Kansas City. Brumfield going strong in the foul.
That is so deceiving. He obviously is strong.
Again, Stafford has also played inside this year at 6'3", rather quickly, did he not? Nobody's brought it to anybody's attention at this point. We play on. Swinton spinning, lays it in, and one.
Feed the big fella. Swinton, good job on the ball screen, jumps out, gets a steal, and watch Hawkins. Unselfish, gives it up to Swinton. Chance for a three-point play.
Who sat for half of the first half for Azusa Pacific, the Bison from Oklahoma Baptist. And they're a bucket away from tying it, 3 away from taking the lead. They'll take the top. Hawkins taking it, making it, and one.
No hesitation by A.J. Hawkins. And Katala is slow on the rotation. And he has a chance for a three-point play.
Last handful of weeks of the season and through this national championship. Steinmetz for the lead.
Unbelievable.
Brumfield back out to Bowman. Thought about it. Re-enters the post. Triple team there. No problem. Block issue. We did have one late in the first half.
The patience he shows and his demeanor when he catches the ball in the post. There's no rush. It's just, let me clear some space with my broad shoulders.
Swinton inside. Triple teamed again, and a foul call. Second one coming up for the senior from Oklahoma City, and that one stays out. Loose, Brumfield the rebound. Kick out. Hawkins for the lead. Wow. He can't make 2 free throws. Instead, he makes 1 freebie and a 3-ball, and OBU goes in front.
Has a champions of character. This is character by a player on the floor. Could have forced it. Nobody would have questioned the force, but he kicks it to Hawkins, and Hawkins lines it up and drills it.
Long-range shooting has not been spot on tonight for the Bison, but they get one when they need one. Here we go. Azusa Pacific down 1. 5 seconds left. Dominique Johnson for the win. Rebound, loose, shot. They wave it off. They wave it off. They will take a look at the replay.
And the light going off on the scoreboard.
And the light was off before it's there. They look at it again. They confirm. And it's no good. Doug Tolan and Oklahoma Baptist celebrate. More wins than any other team in NAIA tournament history. And their first championship in over 40 years.